G'day, Nick here, Animal Engineering. Welcome back to the channel, all you legends. All you new people, g'day. It's been a while since I've last done a video, and since the last video we've tipped over that 1,000 subscriber mark, so to all you new people, cheers for hanging around. Now, this episode was originally supposed to be doing the full custom chassis for the van there, but the engineers have had that for 9 weeks now, and just radio silence. So hopefully within the next day or so, or week, or whenever, someone will answer a phone or an email, and I'll get to go ahead and I can get that all cut out and we can get back onto that. But in the meantime, this little MX-5 presented itself. So I've done a swap for the other RX-8 that I had. Swapped that for the old MX-5 there, which is a far better wheelbase and track width and everything to match up with the Porsche shell. So basically what I've got to do is strip the MX-5 down to absolute bare minimum, chop the windscreen off it, chop the front off it, chop the back off it, just get it to like a basic little skateboard platform on the bottom, trim out the Porsche, and then get the Porsche sitting onto the MX-5. So I think that hopefully the thumbnail, which may have been why you came here, will show that on that. And the project basically is going to be a front-engined 964 turbo Porsche drift car. So front engine, so plan is for a 4-rotor, so quad rotor up the front, and it'll make it a left-hand drive, just so I've got room to build up in the floor for the exhaust and everything to come out. And I'll be calling it the Porsche 926B. So this is episode 1 of the Porsche 926B drift car. So we'll get stuck in, start stripping the old MX-5 there. So yeah, you see Porsche there, it's just one of those kit car shells. So I had an episode quite a while ago on that, just tidying it up and giving it a quick little lick of epoxy primer. So I've been trying to find like a steel shell, and just haven't able to find anything, but that'll do. So basically going to kind of build like a Miata cart, as the old interwebs like to call them. So basically it's just going to be a Miata cart with a Porsche body on it. Wow. Drifting. So much fun. So anyway, we'll get stuck in, get this stripped out, get the grinder out and just chop it to pieces, and then we'll chop the floor out of the old Porsche and we'll see how close they are. Rightio, well, fast forward a few hours, I've gone to town on this thing. Not really a great deal to come off, it was already fairly well stripped really. But now it's time to get out the old Sharpie marker, safety yellow, it's all about safety. And I think we're just going to go around and just mark up where we're going to cut. It's going to be a lot of cutting, but I feel if we put a cut there, cut there, cut along there, up there, down through there, and then this little bit that sticks up, don't think we need that. We don't need the windshield surround anymore, so that can go. Pretty much you can see this line here, go there, cut along there, and there, on both sides. That gets rid of that whole front bit, and then basically the whole rear end. So we'll chop it through there, around there. So yeah, she's been on a fair old diet already. I'll tell you what, you can move it easy. She's light as. So we'll get out the old Sawzall and we'll start chopping. So one of the good things with these MX-5 bases is because they're a convertible, like you got your sills are much stronger because they're designed to be open. Just kind of why it lends itself as a good candidate. That, and there's a lot of parts available for them for drifting and that sort of stuff. If anyone out there knows anyone who wants to throw a bit of sponsorship at this crazy build, hit me up. Alright, so we'll get cutting.
Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Rightio, well, that window frame was a mission. Holy dooly. Didn't really have the right tools for it. Like a big 7-inch grinder or one of those handheld bandsaws, that would have been the tits for that job. But got it off. It was a mission. I want to go through off camera now and just trim all the rest of it off. There's not really too much point filming me chop shit. Rightio, well, as the old saying goes, we're not here to fuck spiders. So yeah, we'll break out the old plasma torch and just start hacking all the rest of that. The whole arse end there has got to come off. So played around with the grinder and the old saber saw there, and that's just no bueno, way too slow, and I don't really use this as often as I should. So we're going to get stuck into it and just hack it all off with this, and then once we get close we'll go back and do some final trimming afterwards.
You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst I say and turn them to a game. Take the best I say and put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain.
Well, there you go, that was 20 minutes. Whole back of the car is gone. So now that the bulk of that is actually removed, I can come through now with a grinder. I'll probably use the plasma cutter to trim that down a little bit more. But now I can see with the inner structure and all that kind of stuff, so it'll be a lot easier now to just go where I need to go to with the grinder, clean it up, and then I'll get out the sanding flap disc, sand it all up. But pretty much still got to do, sort of cut the top piece of the firewall off there, and then we'll get a few measurements once I've done that, and we'll look at starting to cut the guts out of the Porsche. You never know, maybe today we might get them joined together. Rightio, well, as you can see, the plasma cutter makes pretty short work of that. Just hack it off, get bulk of the material out of the way, and now I'll do the same on the front as I did at the back. I'll just go for the grinder, just clean it all back so it looks nice. We'll eventually get trimmed back further than what I am at the moment. Once I sort of get it all done and dusted, I'll get it up on the bench and I'll go through and I'll seam weld everything. So it's time to turn the attention to the old Porsche. Now it's not just a straight case of dropping it on. You can see inside there's all that there that's going to have to get cut out. Down the bottom of the sill there, that's too wide, there's all going to have to be trimmed. And lifting up the bonnet, basically all of that has to get cut out as well. There's a fair bit of trimming to do. Not a great deal, should be able to get a little panel saw in there and just chop all that out fairly quick. So we'll get all that cut out and then we'll see if it fits or not. There's probably a few people out there looking at this going, what's this guy doing? But these kit cars generally are based off a VW Beetle like belly pan, so that's what it normally built on off of them. So I think this is plenty strong enough. I mean, it's designed as a convertible, it's a lot stronger. You look at the belly pans of a VW Beetle, they're pretty flimsy, and it's all, you know, obviously modern suspension and all that sort of stuff, which will change. So I'm hoping to get some wise fab gear or some other kind of angle kit for it. So if anyone out there knows anyone, you can give me a discount on something, shoot me a message. But yeah, for now, we'll get stuck in. Start trimming up the Porsche, and then we'll see if it fits on. Quick update. Still jamming away here. Came out this morning and got stuck into the Porsche. So, pretty much got that trimmed out. It's trimmed out into the shell basically that's going to drop over top of the MX-5. So once I trimmed that out, I managed to get in there with a tape measure a lot easier because there's stuff not in the way. And I came to the realisation that the MX-5 was still too wide. So you see there, I've had to go through and trim in on both sides. You can see on the back there, I've cut that side. Haven't cut that side yet, but you can sort of see the difference of how much I've had to cut. I've pretty much had to bring it in 50mm each side, so 2 inches each side. And then along the sill here you can see that's all opened up, but I've got some 1/8 inch plate, 3mm, so I'll box all that in later on. So the plan at the moment is just to rest the sill of the Porsche onto that, and then the door jam is basically right in line of where the web for that one was, but it was sticking up too high, so pretty much need to get it sitting as flat as I can onto the MX-5 sill, and then on the outer edge of it there is actually, I think, going to be underneath the side skirt of the Porsche, or when we eventually make some side skirts it will be anyway. So we're getting there. I'm going to leave welding that up. It's still, because I'm not jumping around and doing anything stupid with the frame, it's not twisting or doing anything. It looks pretty scary, but I'll wait until I've got the Porsche on it and I'm happy with the height of that sill. I may still need to actually trim that down a little bit more just to get the body of the Porsche down over the wheels a bit more. But I'll do that afterwards. I'll get it up onto the workbench and box it all out and do it all up there where it can keep it all nice and flat. So we'll get stuck in. Just got a fair bit to cut off this side, and then we'll be ready to drop the Porsche on. Alright, well, a lot more cutting and grinding later. I now have this side ready to go. I've measured it quite a lot of times, and the Porsche body should fit down over top of this now. I do still need to go through and trim the wheel arches on the Porsche, because they're basically just going to clash with the wheels on this at the moment, and eventually we're going to have to build like a wide body kit for it, which will be a bit of a process. We've got to make moulds and all that sort of stuff, because once this thing actually gets on the track and banging around, I'm no doubt going to crash into things and mess guards and bumpers and stuff up, so I need to make all my own moulds so that I can make new bits, because Porsche stuff is very expensive. And this isn't a real Porsche, but still parts will be not overly cheap. So we'll get stuck into that. I've got to trim the guards. The whole bottom sill of the Porsche also needs to get chopped off because it sort of curls under. So a bit more cutting, and then get a look of what it's going to sort of look like. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, like the video, share it with your mates. Sort of got the go ahead from the old wifey that if I actually manage to make anything on the videos, go straight back into this project to help get it done. Darty. So anyway, we'll make these cuts on the Porsche, and then next clip will be trying to put it on. Alright, well that is all chopped off. No going back from that. So I've got the MX-5 base turned around now, so we're just going to come in, pick this up with the forklift, go back, and then roll the MX-5 under it, and fingers crossed it fits and looks good. Even though I may have to trim a bit more out of the arches, or it may have gone too far, I don't really know. But because we've got to remake everything anyway, it doesn't really matter. So we'll get this slung up, pick her up with the forklift, and then we'll have a look. Rightio, well there you have it. looking pretty good. Still is appearing to be a bit high, but I think there's like zero compression in the springs right now whatsoever. So I think once we add another 500 kilos or something, you know, engine, gearbox, diffs in there. Maybe it won't be that much. Roll cage. Anyway, add a bit more weight and get a bit of compression in those springs. It should come down a bit. Now the front for this, I probably didn't actually need to cut that guard off, but I'm going to pop it out now. I'm going to have a little bit of a play around with some tape and just have a little gin around. The front will end up being wider, I do believe, once you get like an angle kit like wise fab or something like that. It will punch the front out a bit wider, and I'm not too sure if it punches the rear out wider as well. I'm not 100% sure. I've got to do a bit of googling and find out. So just for now, I'm just going to very quickly trim up the guard pieces I took off, and then I've got some tape, and we'll tape it up, and then we'll cut back in a second, and that'll be done. Alright, well there you have it. Just had a bit of a play around with some tape and the bits of the guard that are cut off. Just sort of brought them out with the edge of the wheels. Now that's kind of a waste of time, but I don't know. You get to this stage, you just want to have a look at it, see what it looks like. So it doesn't look too out of control as far as width and everything, but like I say, it probably will end up being a bit wider. Yeah, looking pretty good. The side looks a bit funny at the moment, but I think once we've actually made a side skirt up that comes out and meets up with the arches, that'll sort itself out. Looking out from the back, looks pretty good. Again, it's just tape. So I've got the dummy block in there at the moment. This is just a dummy block from Motorsport 3D. So they do these dummy blocks and they do all sorts of pretty awesome stuff actually. But with that sitting in there, you can kind of see why I'm going to take the steering from this side and put it onto the left hand side. Because all your intake, your exhaust, everything comes off this side, and you can see there really isn't much room in there. So I'm going to have to build a bit of a tunnel through the floor on our driver's side just to be able to get the exhaust out and down the back, and by making it left hand drive gives me heaps of room for pedals and foot activities. Yeah, it's looking pretty good in there. So looking at how that motor is sitting there, I am suspecting that by the time I put a gearbox and everything behind it, there will be some tunnel modifications. But, you know, having that dummy block is just plastic, you can pick it up and move it around, piece of cake. You can also get like mock-up TR6060 boxes, which I may look at getting as well. They just, I mean, at this stage I don't have a motor, but, you know, even if I did have one, I'd probably be using this anyway. Just, you don't want to be marring up a brand new billet engine or anything stupid like that. Right, so I think we're going to leave it there for this episode. That's a pretty good little kickstart, jump forward, just proving that the MX-5 and the Porsche are going to work well together. So yeah, if you've made it this far through the episode, consider subscribing, tell your mates, share the project around. I really want to get cracking on this thing. But yeah, obviously the van is going to come first, but I'm going to throw a few episodes in on this. I don't know what the next one will be, no idea. Depends on how we go with parts and stuff like that really. But anyway, cheers for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.